Welcome, everyone. Welcome. The lovely Leslie Mack has returned. Welcome, Chris, the lovely and amazing Chris, and me, Cessi. Welcome to Spilling Some Tea. We have another wild week of hot mess news, and we're going to jump into it. We're going to start off the Streets Are Talking section talking about Maid. Just briefly, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But I found some really interesting discussions online about it. Maid is a show on Netflix, if you didn't know. It stars Andie MacDowell and, oh my God, I forgot her name. Her daughter.
Andie MacDowell's daughter.
Yeah, Andie MacDowell's daughter. Y'all can look up her name.
Her name is Margaret Qualley. I think that's her name.
Yes, Margaret Qualley. She's really good. Well, I think we mentioned that we love, in our previous discussion, we mentioned that we love Andie MacDowell. She's a really good actress. And the scenes that Margaret and her mom have together are really good. It's very heartfelt. It is a series or a season that you have to pay attention to the body language and the situational stuff that occurs. A lot of it, it kind of blends fantasy or what's going on in Margaret's character's head with what's
yeah, that's why I was telling you, you told me to watch. I was like, cool. I downloaded to watch before bed, and I immediately was like, oh no, I've got to. Yeah. I mean, it's not Squid Game's level of concentration, right, but it was like, nah, it needs my attention for sure. Yeah. But it looks really good, so I'm definitely going to be watching it.
Yeah, you do. And the situations she finds herself in are so, like, we've all seen and heard these stories, whether they happen to us or people we know. We've seen this happen in many different ways. I think it's really interesting that this takes place in the West or Midwest, Montana, right? I think it's really interesting to see that angle. But without spoiling anything, if y'all do watch, pay really close attention to the roles that people of color, specifically the Black women, the positions of power they hold, and what they do to further the story along. I found it really, really interesting. It sets up really interesting discussions, and it speaks loudly to the reality that all of us are facing in this new COVID normal that we're moving very rapidly into. This new COVID normal or whatever, because that shit ain't going nowhere anytime soon either. So that's what I want to say. Did you guys want to have anything to add?
No, I'm excited to see it, and I've heard other folks mention how good it is, so I'm excited to see it. And it's not very long from what I looked. It's not like 20 episodes or something. It's just a few.
Benched it in 2 hours. Over the last weekend. She really enjoyed it, and she's a social worker, so she was looking at it through that lens as well. And she really liked it. It's in my queue, but y'all know I got too many scary things.
Plus, I was gonna say it's spooky season. You can't be watching extra stuff. That's gonna have to wait till later.
I have no room for anything new that is non-horror content. And then even after spooky season, I have to watch some more horror movies because I'm doing a podcast. So I'm tired.
Yeah. Are you going to share? What's this podcast?
Yeah, what is this podcast?
Oh, I'm just going to be a guest on an existing podcast called Nightmare on Fierce Street.
Oh, cool.
So it's a Black woman and a white man, and they're both queer. And they do their horror movies from that perspective. And so they asked me to come on and talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I have to rewatch Texas Chainsaw Massacre and take notes.
The original one, or
yes,
okay,
right. And so, but I'm not just gonna watch the one, right? You obviously have to go watch all of them so you can just discuss the canon and all that kind of stuff. So I've got to watch it and take notes so I can sound smart.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I'm sure you're gonna sound wonderful.
I'm going to put in a short side note that there's a thread going on the social media channels or on the streets talking about how Black folks don't call the horror movies by the name. We call it by the killer. And how Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like one of the only ones we actually use the name because we don't know what the hell his name is.
Yeah, who know what is it? Nobody know his name. What his
Leatherface.
name is? Oh, Leatherface.
Leatherface.
Oh yeah, you're right, Leatherface.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever heard a Black person call him.
No, they
call the
definitely
movie
say
Leatherface.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Massacre.
Yeah.
But Halloween is definitely Michael Myers. Like,
Michael
Yes.
Myers, Freddy, Jason.
yeah, Freddy, Jason. It's true.
Somebody actually said they didn't know that the Freddy Krueger movies were Nightmare on Elm Street. They thought they were two different franchises.
Valid.
Valid.
I mean, but we do that with TV shows too, right? Like I remember I used to call Family Matters Steve Urkel.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, I still call. I don't even know what her real name is now. I call her Isabella from Young and the Restless to this day. She hasn't been on there in like decades, but I forgot her real. It slipped out of her. I really don't know what her name is now. Anyway, moving on. Did we want to go into Rust, or do we want to talk about Build Black Mediocre?
Well, we can talk about. I should say Build Back. I think we can talk about both. I mean, they're low key linked a little bit because obviously, as y'all know, there was unfortunate death on the set of Alec Baldwin's current movie Rust, including the cinematographer who was killed. And it's as more information is coming out about the incident, it's very clear that union protocols weren't used, that they had non-union safety professionals on set, and that there were several incidents also that happened earlier on the set, and that particular gun had been used and loaded with real weaponry earlier in the day. So I think it's an interesting, the reason why I think it's connected to Build Back Better is because we have been and the three of us in our lifetime have seen a push toward deregulation in just about every sector of American life and U.S. life. And so a lot of the things that we're seeing right now are byproducts of this heavy deregulation. And I don't know about all of you, but I know when I was growing up, like learning about American history, it was really clear that like the labor movement was really important at a point in history. And then what was taught to me was that, and then they fixed everything, so we don't need them anymore. It was like, that's what my school book said.
Wow.
So history teachers, how they said it was like, oh, conditions were so bad, and then they got unions and everything was better, and now we don't need unions anymore. And so that message being ingrained in U.S. society is kind of an outgrowth of a lot of the issues we're seeing, whether we're talking about environmental issues, where we're talking about workplace accidents, where we're talking about standardization in schools. We've just seen across the board how deregulation has been so detrimental to our livelihood, our lives, our health, our ability to thrive generally overall. And yes, someone's mentioning Brandon Lee, who was also killed in a similar accident on the set of The Crow 2. May his memory be a blessing. And I wanted to talk about the Build Back Better because it's now Build Back Mediocre as far as I'm concerned. I'm just going to list a few of the things that are no longer in this bill. No paid family or medical leave. No pharmaceutical price controls. No free community college. No vision, hearing, or dental added to Medicare. No expansion of Medicare. No billionaire tax credit. No universal child care or the child care tax credit. Well, I mean, what the fuck is left? I really come down to what's left is a stale jar of butterscotch candies only for white women who make more than $65,000 a year, because that is how useless this bill has become. And the fact that we're having to watch Dems get on television and talk about this as if there's anything but a shit sandwich being served up to all of us. To me, the streets are talking about all of that, about how awful all of this is, about the fact that nobody voted for Joe, I think I'm the president mansion, or Kirsten, Ugly Jean Jacket Cinema. Nobody voted for these people to run the country, right? They are senators in their respective states. And the sad thing about, you know, Manchin in particular is he's been a leader in West Virginia for the better part of 40 years. He was a state senator, he was a mayor, he was their governor, and now he's their federal senator. And I'm just like, your state is at the bottom of just about every single measure that you can think of. And you single-handedly have been in control and in power as that has occurred. And it just goes to show how mediocre whiteness is constantly not just given the benefit, but actually rewarded. Like, that's the goal. Is like, if you're as mediocre as you can possibly be in white, you're in there. So yeah, I just think all of it is trash, and 2022 and 2024 are going to be a shit show. It was going to be bad before, and now it's going to be a blood bath. I don't know why I'm having trouble talking today, but it's going to be really bad. It's very frightening, and I just wanted to say that the streets are talking about that too. And I think we were going to talk about the so-called Great Resignation, which has been warming my heart so much to see all over the internets, all these text screenshots of trash bosses getting their ass handed to them for being absolutely awful to their employees, and the employees being like, fine, fuck it, I'm out, bye, see you. What do y'all think about that? Like, one is, do you really think there is this Great Resignation? Obviously it's not really, it's just great, people don't want to pay people what they should be paid to live a living wage. But also, you know, as the pandemic has exposed how vulnerable we all are and how little safeguards there are and how little these companies care for us, that the government doesn't care for us, I think it's given folks the bravery to just be like, well, how much worse could it get? It's bad. Okay, right. Bye. I'll figure it out, because y'all are not helping at all.
Yeah. Plus, I think like back in, you know, I am a dinosaur, so back in the day, we were just brought up, or I was brought up to accommodate, I think. And I think my kids are not accommodating anything. They're not, they are so brave, and they're already, you know, standing up for themselves and talking back, and they have no fear. And honestly, I think that's the way people are supposed to be. You're not supposed to allow someone to email you on a weekend and ask you to come in and work for free. Like, yeah. Why would I agree to that? Why would I ever agree to that? So if these are true, if these are accurate, and people are actually standing up for themselves and walking away from abusive jobs, because that is abusive. If you're walking away from a job that is abusive to you, that doesn't value not only your time, but you as a human being, they're treating you like a tool they can just pull out of a drawer, use, and then toss back. If you're being treated like, if you crawled under your desk and died, they just put somebody else who's warm with a heartbeat in your seat to do your job. Yes, you do need to walk away from that. You need to walk away from that, not only for yourself, but for your family, because you cannot be a valuable member or a whole human if you're being treated like a piece of shit at the place where you earn money to live and care for your family and provide for your family. So yes, I am all for it. I hope this is true. I hope that these discussions now that are being raised around the horrible labor relations, the decimation of the quality, or the decimation of how big business values the quality of people's labor and work. I really hope that it continues. I hope that it creates change. And I hope that we are able to, by the sheer mass of people that are just refusing to accept it, that we change things and make it better and pay people livable wages. I hope that it changes that idea that, you know, a minimum wage job is minimum in any particular way. A minimum wage job isn't minimum in any way. There are people who have multiple minimum wage jobs so that they can keep their families protected, keep themselves protected. And that it's unfair to even, I think that this has been going around for a long time, where people say, well, these minimum wage jobs are for college kids, they're for kids or high school kids. Well, just because it's for someone who is not yet
also, it's not true. That is not who's working those jobs.
True.
It's just not true.
It's absolutely not true. The
high school students work at pools and freaking ice cream shops. They are not, that's not what's happening here. And it never has been statistically. It's a lie. It's a lie that, these folks have been telling. Chris, what have you been seeing in the law, the legal side of things? Like how is this happening in law firms too, or no?
No, I don't think it's happening in law firms because we get paid really well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've had clients who are having issues right now with trying to get people back that they to lay off or furlough during the pandemic, and really getting those folks to return to work, especially in hospitality.
Yep.
Right. And so now we're seeing a problem with folks not being able to fill, again, like tribes do a lot of hospitality work. So you're seeing folks that aren't being able to fill their restaurants with workers and, fill with greeters and all of those kinds of things. Those things are just not, those people are not coming back to those jobs. And I've told a lot of my clients that just, those jobs are gone. Right.
They're gone.
So those people are gone. They're not coming back because when it comes down to it, there's no benefit to having them. You don't get paid enough for childcare. You don't get paid enough to buy into some good insurance. And I think that we can draw a direct line between that and this Build Back Better plan, or the collapse of Build Back Better, right?
Yep.
So when, I'm excited to see, I've always wanted to quit a job in these ways, right? I think we all, have something in us that's like, oh, I wish I could have done it, or I wish I could have said these things.
I'm just throwing my shirt at him.
Right. But at the same time, I don't think that this is necessarily a reconceptualization of what work looks like and how our work is intimately connected to our ability to afford childcare. Mm-hmm. It's intimately connected to our ability to have health insurance, right? Yeah. And so I think that we're seeing this great resignation where people are like, I'm fucking tired and I'm over this. But I think there's a direct correlation between that and this collapse of what should have been a Build Back Better plan with very popular policies that address a lot of the things that we need them to address with respect to our employment and the benefits that we get from that, right? So I am not optimistic, and Leslie does electoral work and I do electoral work, and I am not optimistic about 2022. No. I'm not optimistic about Build Back, whatever. It's more of the same, right? It's more of, the Senate and the Congress is the place where good ideas go to die. Right. And so we're seeing more of the same. And yes, we're seeing Manchin and Sinema get roasted. But as early as this morning, Sinema and Mitt Romney were playing what's the name of that show that y'all like on Apple TV, Ted Lasso?
Oh, I saw.
This morning, right? So it's like the ruling class doesn't care. And
they don't give a crap. They don't care. They don't care about any of it.
They don't care. They don't care. And guess what? They're rigging the system so it doesn't matter whether or not we do.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. And it's actually, let me do a short plug. So I have my Blackberry Jams podcast, but my main podcast I do with my husband called Interracial John. We're coming back and we're doing a 10-episode series called Why Work. We're really going to be examining this shift that we're seeing in employment and talking to a bunch of folks that have opted out of a traditional 9-to-5 gig, why they did that, and also this work that comes along with decolonizing yourself after you leave these toxic work environments, as Cessi mentioned, because it really takes a lot of effort. My husband quit his job last year, and he went to a new place of business, but he took all of that angst, all of the pain and the toxicity from his previous employer directly with him into this new job. And every day he would tell me something and I'm like, yeah, but you're making assumptions based on your previous, relationship with your employment. And you're not even giving this new job an opportunity to be different because your guard is so far up. And so a lot of it is about like really the show is going to be about talking to people that are doing some unique things. We're talking to my friend Takia, who is an academic. She has a PhD and has been in academia for a really long time, but realized that traditional academic jobs were not really working for her as a Black woman in particular. And so she's carved out a really unique place for herself within academia, which is doing coaching for PhD students and PhD candidates, and helping people understand what they need to put in their packets. And it's been really great for her to wait for her to stay connected to this body of work that she feels really connected to, but not be harmed constantly and doing it on her own terms. That's just one example, but we're going to talk to a lot of different people who really stepped out and been like, you know what, this is not for me. I need to do something different and really center my well-being and my mental health in my life much higher than just a paycheck, especially if that's all I'm getting. And increasingly, that's all that we're seeing from employers. So I'm excited to talk with all them and to get into all of this and like how we in the midst of being in a capitalistic society, how we can challenge ourselves to think differently about our lives and how we are connected to work. So anyways, I wanted to just give that quick plug. So I think the trailer for it is up now. So the first episode will be up next week. So y'all will get to hear that very, very soon.
Yeah. So let's move into who we're fucking up this week. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait.
Oh no, we're not fucking anybody up yet, but it's coming.
We're getting shit off our chest. Sorry. I scrolled up too far.
Chris, I think that you're up first with this one, aren't you?
Am I? I don't think I.
Oh no, I know we were going to talk about Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah. Well, that was me. I wanted to mention that how she was on The View. She was on The View talking about how she was defending her party's motives to illegalize CRT in K through 12 schools, which, first of all, it's not being taught anywhere below grade 12. You have to be, and actually, what do you have to be like? Chris, you said you covered CRT in law school, so you have to be like post-grad.
I have a degree.
Right. So she was on there talking about how we shouldn't teach CRT in K through 12 schools because it can hurt white kids' feelings. And I thought the most interesting thing about that was by defending this, she used her own history as being the only or one of very few Black kids in her school growing up in the South. Mm-hmm. And then turned around and defended it and pretty much erased her own lived history. Like, who does that? Do you not even hear yourself? She's an intelligent woman. Like, I can't. The thing that kills me about her is she's an intelligent woman. She's highly educated. What the fuck is going on?
Being educated is not an indicator of intelligence.
It surely is not. But the thing about her is that her culpability in the atrocities of the Bush administration are Bush number 2. She can't really she doesn't have a moral leg to stand on. So of course she's defending amoral shit. But what really struck me was her interaction with Sunny on the show, Sunny Holston, about the January 6th commission. And she made this big to do about, we Condoleezza, we need to move on. We need to just get over it. And I'm like, bitch, you were talking about Benghazi a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
So do we need to get over it, or are you just cool with a whole coup happening because it benefits you and your trash ass cronies? She's garbage. Clearly she has a bullshit ass book coming out, because otherwise I don't know why they're trotting her out everywhere. I'm assuming there's a book somewhere, because I can't imagine why we'd be seeing her. So
Joe Lieberman are making the rounds, so I think they both have something coming out. But this also happened in the midst of she was co-hosting The View for a week in the midst of Colin Powell passing away. And, I just think it's weird that, there's like this rehabilitation of people's you know, the responsibility for the atrocities that happened in the Middle East and Afghanistan and Iraq. And so when I saw her, and it was literally the next day after Colin Powell had died, I was, why are these fucking black war criminals on my social media and on my screen?
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Why indeed?
Why are they out now? Just go
why are they there? Who did I want to talk about? Jada Pinkett Smith. Actually, I don't want to talk about Jada. I actually want to talk about this, like, leave Jada alone narrative that has been forming since her latest Red Table Talk, where she talked about how it's been her and Will's sex life has been having trouble. Nobody cares and nobody asked you about any of this stuff, Jada. And so this idea that we need to leave her alone is really strange to me, because last time I checked, she's actually cashing checks for, you know, for detailing her private life. And of course, if that's what your job is, you've made it your job to now talk about your private life and the intimate details of your marriage. Bitch, everybody gonna talk about you. If you don't want people to talk about that, perhaps you shouldn't. You don't get to talk about your private life and then be mad that other people are talking about it when you have a whole show dedicated just to discussing difficult topics. I'm just not here for it. I'm very irritated by this, like, positioning of her as some sort of victim in, I don't know, whatever commentary people have about what she has to say about her and Will's marriage. And also, I very much do not agree with the framing that people are just coming for Jada, because people have been shitting on Will just as much, if not more so. Now, I will say she took a little more heat for the August Alsina shit, because that's gross.
Thank you. And I haven't forgotten.
Very, very disgusting, ma'am. And so, yes, people were on you for that, because it was borderline. I mean, just probably a few months away from being illegal. And so that was one thing. But I think generally people be on Will, like, they make fun of Will all the time. I just was reading, somebody was going off about him. Y'all remember, like, a year ago when I made a comment, maybe it was just to the two of you. I don't know if we had the show at the time. I said that his weight loss content was making me really uncomfortable, because he had, like, gained weight over the pandemic, and which, I mean, just meant he looked like a normal person, just to be very, very clear.
Right.
Not even like a skinny normal person, not even like the average person, right?
Right.
And he was like talking about it, and I literally said out loud, oh, this is going to be a money-making enterprise for him. There's no way. Like, just how he was talking about it, and he does a lot of content, and I know he has a whole content team. And then, of course, now he's got a whole fitness thing that you can join and pay for a monthly and all of this stuff. And I was like, see, I knew that shit was not just him being vulnerable, and none of this stuff is like that. So I just wanted to get off that my chest. Don't nobody need to leave Jada alone. You know what? She needs to leave us alone.
Yes.
And so does her husband. They can both leave us out of their relationship. Talk about other subjects besides you, your sex life, your polyamory, your inappropriate gifts that you have and haven't. I don't care about any of it. If you're gonna have a talk show, have it be about something other than yourself.
I mean, didn't they used to act?
There was that.
Used to. And my thing is, like, there was the only episode of that show that I remember watching and being really like, oh, this could be cool, was the one where Jada talked about her hair loss. And she talked about how difficult it had been for her, how she was wearing scarves. And I thought, oh, that's a personal bit of information that I think people can really relate to, and was not intimate in the way of, like, inappropriate. And I was hoping for more of that. But it's clear that the clicks come when they talk about their trash ass marriage. So that's why we're hearing so much of it. Otherwise, we wouldn't.
Everything that a celebrity does is calculated, so I don't put much stock into it, because I always figure they're trying to make some money off of some shit, whether it's then or down the road. They're trying to monetize whatever. So, you know.
That part. Don't nobody need to leave her alone. She needs to leave us alone. I'm tired. Tired of it all.
Yeah.
That's what I needed to get off my chest this week.
Yeah.
Jada alone.
Well, now we get into people we're gonna fuck up. So who we fucking up this week?
Chris, you definitely started this one because I saw that video and I almost threw my phone. So,
Y'all, our CUSD meetings have been crazy. And last week you heard me go on a diatribe. Fuck you, Joel Worth. Number one, let's start there. But, the crazies came out again this week to talk about whatever it was, COVID, CRT, what have you, same day, different story. Well, our resident woman who claims that she is a cloning expert, this woman is batshit. Let's get this right now. Like she
the
has
way she was like, I'm an expert on this. No, everything about you says you're not, though.
Right.
Even your sweater. Even your sweater says you're not an expert at anything. Like,
you can just look at her and tell she's not an expert in anything except for being racist. So
and having too many cats.
Like,
she probably got too many cats.
So she gets up and she's like, well, y'all want to talk about racism? You want to talk about race? Let's talk about what's real. Let's get down to the bottom of it. And she goes on this diatribe about who owns the pharmaceutical companies and who owns the banks. And you know who it is? The Jews. And then mic drops and walks off the stage.
Let me tell you something, though. I will say one thing for her. It was a journey watching that video because I didn't know where she was going. I was like, I felt like, Keke Palmer. No, it ain't. I didn't know what she was gonna say, and I was like, how bad is this gonna get?
I saw it.
She finished it, and then like said it and like ran off screen, and I was like, wow.
And nobody said anything.
Nobody said shit.
That bitch got applause from the people in the audience. And then the board president, that bitch Barb Mods did, and yes, I did call her a bitch because she's a bitch and I don't like her, said, well, when you come up with comments, you need to comment on things that we can control as a school board. And that's what she said. No, hey, we're not being a platform for anti-Semitism. Hey, we're not going to deal with racism, racist comments here. Hey, you need to take that somewhere else. Hey, our board does not support this. None of that.
I think they call that tacit approval in the law, don't they?
And that was the thing. It was because they probably agree.
Yeah.
The crazy woman.
If they disagreed, they would have said something.
Mm-hmm.
You're not agreeing. Either means you agree or you don't disagree enough to say shit, which is the same thing.
Right. And here's the thing. There's a law, so they can't technically respond to community comments. But that's not a response to a community.
No.
But making a statement saying that anti-Semitism and racism and homophobia and all kinds of bigotry will not have a home here. Right? So save your bigoted comments for your group chat. Don't bring them here to the public comments. How hard is that to say? But they don't say it. Never defended my sister when people would come at her and said racist and fat phobic and all kinds of terrible things to her. They never supported her. And what's funny is now everybody's got their panties in a wad about what's going on at Chandler Unified School District, as if the racism hasn't been flying the entire time. So I need some of y'all to check that shit too. Mm-hmm. Anti-Semitism, absolutely wrong. And I mean, I saw it coming. Like she was doing some of that, like who's in charge and who's doing, who owns the banks and all that kind of stuff. I was like, oh God, oh God, I know where she's going with this, right? Absolutely, positively wrong. But all of the anti-trans comments that I've heard fly, all of the racist comments coming from the fucking board, all of those things that have flown, you all should have known anti-Semitism was the next thing. Because no one is ever just one kind of bigot.
Right.
Isn't that always the case?
Right.
Isn't that always the case? I wanted to fuck up this week. Mayor Byron Brown in Buffalo, New York. A few months ago, y'all may remember that Democratic Socialist and WFP New York candidate India Walton won the Democratic primary for mayor of Buffalo, New York, beating incumbent Mayor Byron Brown. So, normally what happens when that occurs is that, great, India's going to be the new mayor of Buffalo, because it is a big Democratic city. And obviously I don't even think there is a Republican challenger. If they are, they're polling so low that it's irrelevant. But Byron Brown, a black man, decided that he was not going to take his loss quietly. He decided he was going to launch. Well, actually, first he tried to switch and run as an independent, but the board was like, no, you can't do that. There are actually dates that you have to meet and deadlines, and you already ran, so you can't switch parties now. And then he's decided he's going to run a write-in candidate campaign, which is 100%, and I do mean 100%, funded by Trump Republicans.
Mm.
Sir, first of all, you're an asshole. Point blank, period. Number two, you're a sore loser. And three, it's very clear you have absolutely no morals whatsoever. If you, just to hold on to the power that you have already had, to be clear, you've already had this power and had the power to do whatever you wanted to do and enact whatever policies you saw fit in the city of Buffalo. You lost your primary fair and square, and now you're taking money from these awful, awful Trump Republicans to push a black woman out of a position that she earned and fought hard for. This woman drives Lyft still. Right now, as she's running for mayor, that's the kind of person that she is. She's a real candidate who is trying to really do great things for the people of Buffalo. And she won on that message. And she won on the platform that she's put forth. And to see this money come into this campaign from the GOP, from Republicans, Trump Republicans, because these are not even, I don't know, what do we call the non-Trump Republicans at this point? Is there a name for them? The other ones. It's not even the other ones. These are the actual Trump Republicans that are backing him, because of course he's a democratic socialist and they don't want to see their corporate power diminished in the city of Buffalo. So fuck you, Byron. And please, everyone, if you have a few dollars, toss them India Walton's way for her campaign so that she can put up the good fight and really bring some real change to Buffalo. And yes, they are both Democrats, if anybody's asking. He's pissed that he, as an incumbent, lost to this young black woman who has radical, amazing ideas. That's what happened. And so fuck him forever. And shout out to India, because I know this is, I just remember the joy on her face when she won the primary. She had fought so hard, and to be facing this from people that are allegedly in the same party as her is just disgusting. And
not all info.
Ain't that the truth? So that's who I'm fucking up this week. Fuck you, Byron, and I hope you lose really badly.
Well, let's move on to our final segment, which is what is bringing us a slice of joy. Do y'all want me to go first, or you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay. So this is kind of old, but you ever sometimes go into your podcatcher and you see a podcast that you forgot you were subscribed to? Well, that happened to me. I stumbled upon Scam Goddess again, and I've been enjoying some of the old episodes. The most recent episode is her with Prentice Penny from Insecure, who launched their final season on Sunday, and they were really giving us the business on Salt Bay, who we've now christened as Scam Day. See, even Bergen knows. Anyway, so that has been giving me some joy, catching up on old episodes of Scam Goddess. That and my Ruby Boo lipstick from MAC, which I'm loving.
Which one did you get?
I have the this is Ruby Boo, which is the Powder Kiss liquid lip color. I love Ruby Boo.
Me too. I'm gonna go get one of them. I saw there's 4 of them. Yeah. Now they have a whole. So I'm trying to figure out which one. I'm upset. None of them are glossy though. I wanted one glossy one.
They did have. I have it. I have I have so many Ruby Woos, it's ridiculous. But I have the lip lacquer that came out a few years ago. I think it was a limited run because the original is a matte lipstick, and it used to dry the hell out of my lips, but I was still wearing I was still wearing it. So today I have this on with, I was telling Chris, the Dame Pat McGrath lip liner, and I'm loving it.
It looks lovely. I was going to mention something about it earlier, to say, oh, that lipstick is really nice. So that's good to know. Now, which one was it? Say it again. So maybe I'll get that one.
Ruby Boo.
Which is which one of the line is that? Is that like is it the lipstick one, or it's the?
Yeah, it's a liquid lip color. Yeah,
liquid
it's
lip color. Okay, the liquid
so
one.
this is what it looks like. Wait, am I supposed to do the thing?
That's good. Okay, I got it. Okay.
And that's the one that dries to powder.
Yeah, but it's still it's very flexible. I think it has silicone in it. It's very flexible. It's very moist. My lips don't feel dry, and they don't feel like, you know how the old formula used to like feel like it was flaking as you're talking. It's not doing that, and it's not on my teeth. Hey. So you're up next, Leslie.
My bit of joy for this week is my comrades who are on the ground in Minneapolis right now for this final push for question 2 on the ballot on Tuesday, which is a groundbreaking expansion of public safety in Minneapolis and completely reshapes how public safety is going to be run, and also the hierarchy of who gets called when. They're really expanding the use of police and putting a whole bunch more tools in their toolbox to ensure that that right-sized response is given when emergencies occur and when 911 is engaged. And I want to just really applaud all the organizers on the ground in Minneapolis for their tireless work to push this initiative onto the ballot in the first place through city council, and then secondarily to keep it on the ballot because they tried to get it off the ballot a couple of weeks ago, and now they're in their final push. They're doing some amazing things this weekend, including my favorite Poles to the Polls, that's POLES, which is leaving from one of the gentlemen's clubs. They have live strippers, and they're doing party buses to take people to vote early. They're doing a family canvassing event on Halloween, trick-or-treating and knocking on doors to ensure that people are voting. It's been a really beautiful campaign to watch for quite a few reasons. One is because they really were able to determine that the best deliverers of this message to let people understand what it means to expand public safety were teachers, social workers, and mental health professionals, which I think is really a great lesson to take from. And then the second thing is this could be a model for other cities and municipalities to look at and see that there is a different way to look at what public safety means. Right. And the last thing I thought was really innovative, 2 weeks ago, there was a debate between a reform Black male minister who is very cozy with the police department and the ED of Yes for Minneapolis, Janae, who's also a minister, has been spearheading this large effort, coalition building, to get this passed. And what I really loved about the fact that they did a debate is because we don't hear Black people talking to each other about the nuance of how we all think about safety, how we all think about the best ways to approach safety. We talk to each other certainly about it, but it was really beautiful to see this laid bare publicly and make sure that people see that we are not all the same. We have different ideas about what safety means for each other. And I hope that that model gets pushed out and we see more and more conversations publicly amongst Black people that are in community with each other but disagree about things. And so I'm really excited. The polling's looking good. We're keeping our fingers crossed. These last few days are going to be really critical. Tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, please head over to Black Visions or the Movement for Black Lives Twitter or Facebook or YouTube even. We are going to be doing a really great event tonight with Adrienne Marie Brown. We're going to be talking about how mental health and public safety are connected. We're going to be doing some text banking right during the event itself. There's going to be another conversation about the details of question 2 and what's going to happen in Minneapolis. So please come out, and also you can go and look at Black Visions to just volunteer. We need more volunteers to do phone banking and text banking, which will be happening all the way through the time that the polls close on Tuesday. So if you're looking to get involved and you're not in Minneapolis, sadly I'm not. I'm so sad seeing all my friends out there, but I couldn't go this time. Please join us, join the fight to reimagine and expand public safety in this groundbreaking campaign in Minneapolis. So shout out to all of them. It's bringing me lots of joy.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, I guess I'll keep my short. I'm really joyful for that bag of candy corn I just ate while we were doing it.
Yes, I know. We are both candy corn aficionados. So
Me too.
I'm really excited about that because what really brought me joy yesterday, aside from all of my spooky stuff, and y'all have heard that a million times. I went to dinner last night. Scott Conant from the Food Network, who is one of the judges on Chopped, has a restaurant here in Phoenix. And so we went to the restaurant last night. They did an event. We got a cookbook and got to take pictures with him and got to, roast him a little bit about Instapots and stuff. It was really fun. So that fun. I went with my friends, Dawn and Leslie. Not you, Leslie, back, but Dr.
The
Leslie.
other one.
My friend, Dr. Leslie. So we made jokes about, a professor, a doctor, and a lawyer walk into a restaurant. Ha, ha, ha. But it was fun. It was delicious. I drank way too much. I ate way too much, which meant I did not sleep last night because I was just so it was oppressively full. So I've been in a mood. So thank you all for carrying this show. But I needed caffeine and I needed sugar to wake my Black ass up. So thank you for indulging me and allowing me to eat my candy corn. And Halloween is right around the corner and I'm excited. Check out the spooky season calendar. It's been a fun week of films. But I want to give a plug tonight for Horror Noire, the anthology movie that dropped on Shudder today. If you'll remember, in 2019, there was a documentary series called Horror Noire, talking about Black people in horror, right? And so it was an amazing documentary. And so now they've come up with an anthology film. Where it'll have 6 stories in the film, and it starts streaming on Shudder today. And I'm so excited. In fact, I'm gonna get off of this thing, and I've got another call. I've got to do a meeting. But at some point today, I'm watching that in addition to my spooky season movie and all that kind of stuff. So I can't plug it enough. Horror Noire on Shudder, and it's the anthology movie, not the documentary, but they're related. So that's what's giving me joy.
Oh,
I love
fantastic.
it.
I'm going to make a note because I really want to watch that.
Listen, I'll plug it a few times. It's if you've got the Shudder app on Amazon, it's not up yet. But if you just have the regular Shudder, it's up now. So I'm going to get to it.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Spilling Some Tea. We will see you next Thursday on November 4th. It's already November, y'all. Hi, Bergen.
She just comes up here to beg me for treats. I think she's slick. You're not slick.
Well, thank you again. Take care. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Bye.